So I've been with Enterprise Holdings for about 23 years now, and I've worked in the HR capacity for about 20 of those years. And I'm currently responsible for leading our employee opinion survey project. So I think that sort of qualifies me, at least that's what our good friends at TNS believe. Looking at the colors that you showed out there, you are all at a place where we were at one point in time as an organization, trying to figure out how is it that we can use our business metrics to engage our leadership team and then help that drive the results for the business. And it's an evolution that we all go through. We began this back in the late 90s with the first engagement survey that Gallup put out there. And we tried for several years to understand what really was engagement. We know the 5 factors, but how do we utilize those to drive better behaviors across the company? Eventually we got to a point where we thought we were doing the right things, but there was something missing. Although it felt right and it seemed to be good, we couldn't necessarily justify and correlate that. So we tried some internal measurement comparisons, we still just weren't getting it. So finally, with the assistance of TNS Employee Insights, we were able to put together some analysis where we actually provided to them our core business metrics, and we asked them to figure out what's the correlation between those metrics that are truly driving our business and our engagement scores. And then within that, we tried to figure out, okay, now that we know what those correlations are, how do we capitalize on all that to make progress? As we embarked on that, the challenge that we have is we have over 9,000 locations across the globe. We have over 14,000 managers that run their locations very independently. It's great as a theory to say, as a company, we're going to. But when you're relying on 14,000 managers to independently do this on their own, it really is challenging. And they run very independently, very autonomously. So as a local branch manager, you are helping hire your employees, you are training your employees, you're leading, engaging your employees. So to try to convince them that this is going to be good for them was a bit of a task. So here's what we did. We said, let's look at this as not a means to an end. Let's look at it really as a means. We did a pretty good job of explaining to employees why engagement is important, and what you see up here on the screen is nothing new. It's not earth-shattering. We all know that engaged employees, they build better relationships, they increase productivity, they help us decrease our costs, they help us really solidify our brand, and all those things out there. And we realized it's not so much about just being happy or being favorable. It's really about engaging in a way that's going to truly produce results that are missing in their portion of the business. So we looked at our core areas that we rank our employees and our operations on, and the first one is service. So if you've ever rented a vehicle from Enterprise, National, or Alamo, hopefully you had a great experience, because that's our #1 priority is customer service. And our employees know how important it is, because this is how simple we make it. If your service is below our company average, you're ineligible for promotion. You can't move. You'll be stuck at that location until you improve your service. So we have a nice, really easy hook into that. But then we said, all right, if we are trying to drive engagement and connect it to service, through the correlation analysis that TNS provided to us, we identified the 5 survey instrument items that were most strongly correlated with it. And now here's where the HR part comes in, where they'll be really familiar to most of us in the room. We identify our managers that are doing very well in service, and we go out and we ask about the behaviors and we reinforce what they're doing. We then go to the opposite end of the spectrum. We spend time with our managers who don't have good levels of service. We specifically talk about these 5 items. We share ideas that we've seen work from our other managers who are scoring really well. And with their input, we identify the obstacles, and then we identify solutions. But we don't stop there. We then take that information, we go to their employees in small groups, and we ask them, are these the real hurdles that you see every day that are getting in the way of allowing you to service our customers? And if they are these solutions legitimate? Can you be committed to these? Are they realistic for what's being expected of you? So we said the data supports it, the manager believes in it, the employees believe in it, and then we go to work. And that go to work means we take those action items, we put them into the TNS system. It's a great, easy system of tracking your progress toward your goals. And then along the way, we reward and recognize our employees for the work they've done and the improved results that they've achieved. Initially, it's a bit of a risk. We weren't sure, but as we worked through it like we believed, you go back and you begin to track your progress, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months down the road, those operations began to slowly improve. So now, when we go back and resurvey, we know that our management team is going to listen to us because we've already seen it work. We do the exact same thing with our profit rank. So when we look at profitability, at Enterprise, we pay our management team a portion of the profits that they produce. So if you're not running a good operation, then your compensation is directly impacted that, not like a lot of operations. So the managers who aren't performing well, we typically don't need to go to them. They typically come to us and ask, help me because I'm not making as much as I should have because for a variety of reasons. So what do? We go back to our analysis that was provided to us by TNS, identify those 5 items that we know are most strongly correlated to driving profitability, and we do the exact same thing. There's a theme here, there's a consistency here that I'm gonna continue to talk about. Manager, talk to me about the obstacles standing in the way of you being able to do those 5 things. Let's come up with solutions. Great, now let's bring your employees in and let's validate those exact same things again. So what I said about service is exactly true with profit. We come up with great solutions, validate employees, implement, and then track our progress along the way. And then the final one is we look at retention. At Enterprise, when we look at retention, we identified internally that we know high retention is correlated with high service, strong growth, and strong profitability. Nothing else is correlated that way. So retention is the one factor that directly impacts all of the others. So, same exact process. We sit with our managers who are challenged with retention, and we talk through these 5 items, and we ask, what are the obstacles? All right, let's develop solutions. Now, once we have solutions, we sit down with the employees, and we validate those obstacles are real. We get their commitment to whatever the action items are that we came up with. And by the way, that step is a bit lengthy because rarely do what we come up with the manager, is that exactly what's implemented. The employees have a tremendous amount of say in what we do. So ultimately, where all of this lands is, we have to think about this, about what's the one common denominator. If you looked at all those slides, there was really a word that stands out, and it's manager. I said we've got over 9,000 locations, 14,000 managers. We have to rely and capitalize on what our managers do out there. Again, it's a great company philosophy, but the execution comes down to the manager. So the way in which we go about utilizing that power is they have to be actively engaged in every single thing we do. We do very little from the top at Enterprise. We may set the expectation, but we don't build action plans. That happens at the local level because we're such an autonomous organization. We're so decentralized. And the great news is now looking back, and when I go out and spend time with the operators and the team that I'm part of, it really does make it easy to walk into an operation with a manager and look at their retention, or look at their service, or look at their growth, or look at their profitability, and where they're not performing, I can have these exact same conversations with them. They don't look at this as an HR initiative. In fact, I would say at Enterprise, we don't have any HR initiatives. We only have operational initiatives that are supported by a variety of different departments, one of which happens to be HR. So this is not something that HR does. This is something we assist with. They take ownership because they see how, if they can drive engagement based on the items that we showed in the slides, they see the correlation to them running a successful business, which means happy customers lead to happy employees because they're making money and they've got promotional opportunities. So,
thank you.